walked into the house in New Orleans in this barren neighborhood. The first thing we see is this family room flooded, that had been flooded and then drained out. Stuff was strewn all about the room. Newspapers, family photos, magazines from the week of the storm. And it was just this disgusting, dank smell of must and mold and mildew in the air. Stuff had been stagnating for almost 8 months. And so we spread out all around the house doing different types of work, ripping down drywall, tearing tiles off the walls, smashing cabinets so we could carry them outside. And I'm in the bathroom with a sledgehammer knocking out tile out of this really thick mortar in the walls. So as I'm working in there, I hear this noise coming to the kitchen, sploosh. I'm like, oh my gosh, what was that? And the rest of the house starts to go quiet and people start to run outside. The garbage disposal had tipped over. My friend had tipped it over and out came all this 8-month-old nasty food scraps and 8-month-old water from the flood of the hurricane. We all cleared outside. People were throwing up all over the place. You could smell it down the street. Since I was in charge, I was the one that had to go back inside to clean it up. So I got as many cleaning supplies as I can. I'm scrubbing, throw on this gas mask too. I'm scrubbing. Finally, after about half an hour, I managed to get the smell out so everybody could come back in and keep working. So after that, I went back into the bathroom with the sledgehammer, started whacking the tiles, and everybody else kept going on with ripping out the walls and ripping out the rugs, and we were finally able to continue our work and get the job done. But I will never forget the way that garbage disposal smelled.
Well, Friday night I had a birthday party. It was at my apartment, which is on the 2nd floor of a very large white house. And there are many rooms, but they're all very small. Guests started arriving throughout the night, and before we knew it, the house was filled up with people and with noise. And the girls that live in the downstairs apartment, they had friends over too. So before I knew it, I had to climb over people across the hallway to go downstairs to speak with some policemen who came to inform us that there was a noise complaint. And so I had to leave my beautiful apartment with orange walls and small rooms and lots of wonderful people to go downstairs to this tiny hallway that you enter to go in the front door, and it was very claustrophobic. And there was the 5 girls downstairs and my roommate and I, and the light above us was extremely bright and uncomfortable. And then my 4 neighbors downstairs got arrested, which was interesting to see little girls walking out the door with policemen in handcuffs. All seemed very fake. And then everything was over and the full apartment was empty. And I came upstairs and my 2 roommates and I looked at each other, and then we cleaned up the catastrophic mess, starting with all sorts of cans and bottles of varying sizes and sweeping the floor, but we did it all, and when we woke up it was as if nothing ever even happened.
I remember when I was really little, about 3 or 4 years old, my mother took me to the park in Brockton, in the city that we used to live in. And I remember it was just this massive park. It was huge. And due to the fact that I was really little and I was really small, everything looked massive to me. I just remember trees towering over me. It was autumn, and some leaves had fallen and some were still on there, and the colors were just so beautiful, like a typical New England autumn. And the trees were just really massive and really tall. They never seemed to end, I guess. I don't know what better way to describe it. And there was a pond, and the pond was really wide and really huge, and you could almost not see the edge of it. It was kind of like looking at the ocean. It was really cool, and I just remember being on a gravel path, and that gravel path was a part of the parking lot. We had parked our cars and things like that, and I was feeding like 1 or 2 geese. The geese were like really big because I was only like 3 years old, and they were towering over me. And I fed one, and then all of a sudden more and more start closing in on me, kind of encircling me, like attacking me, and I'm freaking out. And all of a sudden I'm not dishing out the bread fast enough, I guess. And all of a sudden I start crying, and I'm in hysterics because I'm terrified because they're squawking and they have beaks and they have weird toes, and all of a sudden my mother comes in and swoops me up and tries to comfort me, and I'm still crying and they're still squawking, and she divvies out the rest of the bread, and it was just one of my earliest fears of geese was because of that. And just recently I've been able to sort of get over that, maybe.